This is the Detroit Sports Podcast Network.
Do you play FanDuel and feel like you aren't creating consistent money-making lineups? Go over to the DFS Doctors on Twitter at the DFS Doctors and DM them with promo code DetroitSports to get a free trial for their analytically formulated 70% lifetime profit rate NFL and NBA lineups. The whole purpose of playing daily fantasy sports is to get out there and compete and give yourself a chance to win. So go over to the DFS Doctors. Let them help you. They have analysts on staff that look at the best optimal lineup that you can put out there to win money. So why not take advantage? At the DFS Doctors, promo code DetroitSports.
CBD is a game changer sweeping the nation. This hemp extract is the natural way to elevate your mood, eliminate aches and pains, reduce anxiety, and keep you sleeping all night long. It can even cut your workout recovery time in half. Get in the game today with 20% off all orders of CBD and lavender products from Lavender Lane, a lavender farm located right here in Milan, Michigan. Just go to lavenderlanemi.com today and enter coupon code DETROIT for 20% off your entire order. Guys, look, these amazing products are infused with calming lavender to maximize their effectiveness, meaning your CBD items only take minutes to take effect, which is way quicker than those pills you were about to swallow. On top of it, they are perfect for men and women. Lavender Lane has lab-tested CBD creams, tinctures, and roll-ons that are perfect for any situation, even if you're on the go. Put your health back in your hands by heading over to lavenderlanemi.com and entering coupon code DETROIT for 20% off your entire order of CBD and lavender products. What do you have to lose? Your satisfaction is guaranteed or your money back. So if you need lavender gifts for your loved ones or just looking for the natural way to ease your discomfort with CBD, go to lavenderlanemi.com and use coupon code DETROIT to unlock these miraculous benefits of CBD and lavender. That's lavenderlanemi.com. And remember, use coupon code DETROIT for 20% off your CBD and lavender products from Michigan's own Lavender Lane.
Detroit is the greatest! Straight up light you on fire for a Coney dog right now.
Darren McCarty comes back to Neiman in front of him. McCarty draws. McCarty in. McCarty scores! A goal! Darren McCarty!
Stafford takes, throws, end zone, Calvin, touchdown, Detroit Lions!
In the air, left field! The Tigers march to the World Series!
Welcome to this week's edition of the Motor City Sports Rant. I am the Doc, John Macaroon. Joining me, Jason Jarvie. I'll dial him up here shortly. Gotta get what Jason thought of the NFL Combine. Man, what a weekend. Indianapolis does a great job with the NFL Combine. The NFL world gathers, and a lot of people were watching what the top prospects were going to perform. How are they going to do? How are they going to handle the measurables, the pressure? And for Lions fans, I know they were gripping, they were paying attention, they were really wondering what was going to happen with some of the top prospects, because for the Detroit Lions, that number 3 pick is quite serious. If the Lions decide to stay at number 3, the odds-on favorite right now is Jeffrey Okudah, the cornerback. I want to get a sense from Jason. Does he think the Lions should indeed stay at number 3 and select a cornerback? Does he think Jeff Okudah can be a guy that could be an adequate replacement for Darius Slay? We had an opportunity to hear from General Manager Bob Quinn and Matt Patricia. We had an opportunity to see and be wowed by Isaiah Simmons. But even after the Combine and the great results that we got to see from a plethora of some of the draft prospects, there's still some talk about how to properly rate what we saw from the Combine, because there's been a handful and a number of guys that wowed at the Combine, and then when they actually got on the field in a pro game, they just failed to deliver and became busts. So that's why you're seeing more and more of the top guys. That's why Joe Burrow really didn't participate in a whole heck of a lot of drills. Tua did not participate in a lot of drills, and Chase Young was just flat out like, I don't want to be a combine athlete. I want to be a player that's going to be a legitimate force in the National Football League. So for me, I had a great time checking out, probably this year was the most time I had spent invested in the NFL Combine, and I was wowed by a lot of players. Like many, I was wowed by Claypool, the wide receiver. I was wowed by the offensive lineman, Tristan Wirfs. And obviously, just like everybody else that saw, man, to see the speed, the pure speed, and the measurables of Isaiah Simmons. I wrote an article on SI All Lions, a Sports Illustrated team channel. I wrote that just based on what I saw and how, Isaiah Simmons could fit with the Detroit Lions, his versatility, I just said flat out, I would be okay if the Lions indeed were able to trade back and get Isaiah Simmons. So for me, I'm in the camp of trade down, no matter what. At all costs, find an avenue, Bob Quinn, to trade down and secure more assets. And at 5, you can be a little bit more patient and be a little bit more willing to accept if the Lions take Okudah, Brown, or Isaiah Simmons. At 3, you're probably locked into, probably not Okudah, but you're probably locked into, finding that quarterback, maybe finding that defensive lineman. I don't know if you can take a player in the secondary at number 3. And I think that's where a lot of people find frustration in having the number 3 pick. If the Lions had the number 2 pick, it'd be easy. They could get Chase Young. And maybe that scenario does play itself out if the Lions are lucky to have Chase Young fall for them. I don't see the Lions trading up. I see the Lions working really hard to trade back. And the most likely scenario right now is that the Lions trade back to the 5th spot with Miami, and Miami will then go on to select Tua, and Detroit will most likely peek into and really explore drafting Jeff Okudah from Ohio State. And I think that's probably going to be okay. I just don't see the avenue where, right then at 3, if Chase Young is not there, that the best value is taking potentially Okudah. I think the best value would be if you stay at 3 and the deals just don't come through. I think the best player you take is Isaiah Simmons, and it'll be incumbent upon Matt Patricia to find a way to use Simmons properly. I know you're hearing and reading some things about the chances that Isaiah Simmons could be a bust. People are a little bit more skeptical of his ability because of the fact that he does play a plethora of positions. But look, a guy with that level of talent and skill, if you're a true defensive guru like Patricia claims to be, how can you not find an avenue and a spot to properly utilize Isaiah Simmons? So I'm going to dial up Jason and get his sense. That's my 2 cents. You can check out my work daily at si.com/NFL/Lions and follow me on Twitter at Detroit Podcast. Looking forward to recapping the Combine with the King, Jason Jarvie. Always enjoy the chance to talk to Jason, the King Jarvie. What's up, my friend?
Oh, it's just a busy day in the life.
Well, look, at least the weather's nice outside. Spring is around the corner, and that means March Madness. That means Michigan State basketball, probably, hopefully making a nice deep run in the NCAA tournament. We'll talk about that briefly in the second half of the podcast. But like everybody else, I'm assuming you took in at least part of the NFL Combine. What impressed you?
I mean, obviously I'm impressed by Isaiah Simmons. I mean, the dude is a beast athletically. Listed as a linebacker, a safety, and I can't help but dream. But also, those dreams can also be nightmares for Lions fans, because I just can't help feel that if we were to take somebody like him, that we wouldn't figure out the right way to use them. Like we'd stick him on the line and have him as like a rush edge, and he'd be wasted, and then go somewhere and make an immediate impact. But Isaiah Simmons, he looks amazing. Even though, I feel like it'd be ridiculous to use one of our, even if we were to get multiple picks in the first round, I feel like it would be a little ridiculous to use one of those picks on a wide receiver. But watching Henry Ruggs, that dude is fast. And that's, I always love watching speed.
And Claypool had himself a good old time, too, in the workouts. Offensive lineman Tristan Wirfs had himself a good old time as well. But I want to hit on what you said. I think that's the starting point. that a lot of Lions supporters are looking at is that Isaiah Simmons was a combine warrior. He's a guy that ran a sub 4.4 40. He's a guy that's very versatile, and he's a guy that on film we've all seen him make plays at the highest levels. But now certain general managers, some have come out and said that there's a opportunity, there's a level there of risk involved in drafting Simmons because of the fact that he doesn't have a true position. And so those that are skeptical like yourself, Lions fans who don't trust in Matt Patricia, don't believe just yet that Simmons could come in and make an immediate impact. But if Matt Patricia is a defensive guru like he claims to be, don't you think that if he's there at 5 and you have an opportunity to take him, that Isaiah Simmons shouldn't be? Don't you think that Simmons should be the Lions' number 1 target at this point in time?
I mean, it really all depends on who's. Are you saying 3 or 5?
Number 5.
Well, I mean, if we're trading back, so you're saying Chase Young, he's completely gone. I mean, it'd be hard not to take Simmons if he's there at 5. Yeah, because even though I do have my doubts on the Lions and how they'll use him, I mean, I think this guy is a stud of a player, and seeing what he did at Clemson, he's got the pedigree. So I have to believe that he should be able to come in and at least make some sort of an impact, because I feel like, this is I wouldn't want to pass him up, and it almost feels like the TJ Watt scenario where I feel like that guy, he fell, and then, he's one of the best linebackers in the NFL right now. And I think Simmons, he may, even though he's the hybrid position, I think he comes in and he gets the right coaching, then I mean he should be able to dominate pretty quickly.
Now I know you and I are both paying attention to the mock drafts all over the place. You can find mock drafts almost daily that are projecting who the Lions are going to bring in. And the name that right now is the leader in the clubhouse at number 3, should the Lions decide to stay and not trade down, is Jeff Okudah, the cornerback. So we got a chance to see him. He did okay, obviously, dinged up his neck a little bit, kind of made an argument for some that said, hey, what's the point of top prospects? They could always, tweak something at this combine. That's why Chase Young didn't even bother at all. The top guys typically don't want to work out and risk anything. But for me, I just have a hard time thinking that Okudah is worth number 3 because of the fact that corners take their sweet-ass time to develop, and the Lions are so desperate. They're desperately in need of a winning season. I don't think Okudah comes in year 1 and changes the Lions' defense drastically.
No, yeah, I mean, I agree. And I think it'd be silly. I mean, even though it would be nice to have both Slay and Okudah at the same time, I mean, you want one shutdown corner, and I think it would just be drafting for luxury to get Okudah there. If you move back and then you get Okudah somehow, whether it's 5 or lower than that, then I think that's the value that it's hard to pass up. But I think at 3, when the possibility is there that maybe Chase Young falls to us, there's Isaiah Simmons there. I think those are 2 other positions, just in those 2 players, that we need more than another cornerback. Now, if we're talking about we're going in the draft and we have no Darius Slay anymore, I think that changes up the decision making a little bit more.
Yeah, it's fascinating because, in terms of evaluating how Bob Quinn addressed the media and Matt Patricia, obviously debunking the Matthew Stafford trade rumors, it just doesn't make sense to try and trade Darius Slay when you're trying to win, when you could just slot him in. You don't have to really do anything. He's got a contract. Yeah, he'll be disgruntled, but he'll produce because he'll be fighting for a new contract. So I know that the rumors are coming out daily that the Lions are shopping Darius Slay, but I think the best option for the Lions' plan A is just let Darius Slay, come aboard, stay in 2020, draft Okudah. Now you have an opportunity to solidify the secondary, and then hopefully you make some solid picks along the way, and then you have a bunch of money in free agency to go out there and reshape that defense. So I just don't see how the Lions win without Darius Slay.
Yeah, I agree. It's it's definitely if you're moving on from Slay, there would have to be a whole ton of corresponding moves that are making up, and however, I don't know if they have the however many wins added, if they have that kind of stat for football players, but I can't imagine trading away Darius Slay helps that for the Lions.
Okay, so you heard the rumors. You're hearing more and more whispers. It's not full on yet, but there is probably a 20% chance that Tua Tagovailoa, the quarterback, is there at number 3 and could be sitting there prime, ready for the Lions to pick him. Now, I wrote a piece a couple weeks back and said that, look, if you're kind of evaluating things and you're Bob Quinn and you're Matt Patricia and you're trying to sell that this is a true rebuild and it's a process, taking a quarterback might buy you that one extra year you need because it shows ownership, okay, we're looking to the future. It's a highly touted guy that everybody has talked about. Tua has potential, and his medicals are coming back the way that it needs to at this point in time. I'm not totally opposed, but if they draft Tua at number 3, you obviously are going to sit him because Stafford's going to be the guy with the rate that you're paying, but you're signaling to everybody that, okay, Stafford, if he doesn't have the level of success, you can immediately slot in Tua, and you have a guy that with a year under his belt learning from Stafford could come in and replace him. So here's the thing. Could you be patient enough, Jason? One more season, maybe, subpar, keep the same regime and fight off all the haters that may want everybody gone and just say, look, draft Tua. He could be the guy legitimately that could be the next franchise quarterback for the Lions, and you build around him in the coming seasons.
I don't know. I'm too far gone. I feel like if
Tua for you?
If the move was to draft Tua, then Bob Quinn and Matt Patricia, everyone should have been gone at the end of the season. If that was really what you were looking at, then we should have had clean house and have a new GM, new coaching here, and really start this rebuild, whether it's with Matthew Stafford or without. It absolutely makes zero sense for them to keep Matthew Stafford, draft Tua, and so we get 2 more years of this? It makes zero sense. Like, I mean, I feel like it almost makes less sense than the Eric Ebron draft pick. Because even that, you can have some if he actually does come in and he produces like the tight end that they think he's going to be, then it's a good pick. But this is like when you have the talent that's around, whether you're getting a different guy at 3, whether you're getting Isaiah Simmons, whether you're getting Okuda, whether you get one of those guys, or whether you're trading down and amassing more picks, or possibly getting 2 first-round picks out of this, it's a dumb move. So I can't. It's hard for me to even think past it of actually drafting Tua and what that would look like, because I feel like it's just so many steps in the wrong direction.
But don't you have to start to plan at least somewhere? Okay, if it's not Tua at number 3, maybe Jordan Love, Herbert, you go down the line, maybe even a Jalen Hurts in the 3rd or 4th round. Don't you have to start wrapping your mind around the idea that you got to replace Stafford just in case he gets hurt in 2020? He's one hit away.
I'm absolutely fine with that. Not at number 3. It would be the biggest failure of draft picks, unless the Tua turns out to be some, the next coming of, Joe Montana and Steve Young and Peyton Manning and Tom Brady all rolled into one another. Unless that happens, then it's an absolute failure of a draft pick. But yeah, go out, get one of those guys. I think there's going to be a number of those top quarterbacks taken in the 1st round. And if you somehow maybe amass picks, and I could understand more if you have like a lower first round pick from trading down from 3, and you already get another defensive player or something with the other pick, and in that second first round pick, you really you feel good about Jordan Love, or you feel good about, and Justin Herbert somehow falls that far. I feel a little bit better about that because I get that. I would be fine if they do pick up like a winning quarterback like Jalen Hurts in the second or third round, because I've wanted that for a while now. I want somebody to actually compete with Matthew Stafford, or somebody that they could groom for the future. But at this point, where they are, it makes zero sense drafting Tua at number 2 or number 3.
Yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense, but I think a lot of the experts right now are putting it around 10 to 20%. So don't count on it. I really do think it's going to end up being Okudah.
I think there's more of a chance that Washington takes Tua at number 2 than the Lions getting him at number 3.
Oh, man, that's the dream scenario. The dream scenario for all Lions supporters is someone falls in love with Tua, Washington trades out or selects him themselves, and then Chase Young falls to the Lions. Win-win. You rush up, you hand in the card, and it's a great, great addition. It would make the tanking, it would make the awful season that they had in 2019 all worth it. I don't think Chase Young's going to be a bust. I think that he's going to be the premier edge rusher, but from what you're hearing, I just think that Washington is absolutely in love because he's a hometown guy, and he's a guy that everybody thinks is going to be the premier edge rusher. You already got a young quarterback. You don't got to waste number 2 with another quarterback. So I think Chase Young, I think for sure it's going to be Joe Burrow 1, Chase Young number 2, and then the draft really starts at number 3 with the Lions.
Yeah, but you look at what Arizona did the year before when they drafted Josh Rosen at number 10. And then immediately the next year, they go out and draft Kyler Murray at number 1. Now, I know you're not getting the number 1 quarterback in Joe Burrow, but I think there's also questions that if Tua Tagovailoa is 100% and he's going to have 0 setbacks from this injury, I think the line is very thin between Joe Burrow and Tua Tagovailoa. And if that, for a team that really doesn't have a quarterback right now, they think Haskins might be the quarterback of the future. But if you think Tagovailoa is going to be better and is really going to be a transcendent quarterback, which I think Haskins has the ability to be a good quarterback. I mean, I think he has the same types of ability that Matthew Stafford has, that he has the ability to be a good quarterback. But I think that X factor that Tagovailoa might have would be why the Redskins might think about that.
Ooh, man, I love this draft talk. Love potentially having the Lions improve their roster. I think, heading into free agency, to see that the Lions have a plethora of funds to spend, well over $45 million, and they could, if they wanted to cut Rick Wagner, they would get another $6 million. Did you hear the news that obviously in 2020, I think it's going to happen right away, the rule changes, they've added more teams to the NFL playoffs. The Lions could sneak in as a 7 seed. Now, that would put them on the road and they'd probably get their ass kicked, but I like that rule change. The one rule change that I think I've liked more than anything else is 1 bye week. Only 1 team per conference gets a bye, and then there's an additional team in the postseason, 7 per conference. I absolutely love it.
Yeah, I mean, I have zero problem with that. I mean, I was listening to, I read what Aaron Rodgers wrote about his response and why he's opposed to the CBA. And his thing was, the Packers 2019 wouldn't have had that bye in the first round of the playoffs. Yeah, well, how many other teams didn't have a bye in the first round of the playoffs? Like, the rest of them, except for you and 3 other teams.
Yeah.
So it's like, it means nothing. I mean, if you really want that bye, get the first. Be good. Be better. I think the Packers were a joke this year. They shouldn't have been as good as they should have, as they were.
Man, I can't wait. So before we move away from the NFL talk, you have any thought about the Tom Brady rumors, where he's going to end up, or you think he stays with New England?
I mean, I just think it makes too much sense for him to just stay with New England. I mean, finish finish your career with New England. It's I mean, I get it, but it's even though I may not like Tom Brady all that much, it's a story. Don't go out and finish your career as a San Diego Charger. I mean, what are you really gonna do there? So It's like, I think you might have 2-3 years tops in him. I mean, I can't see him playing any more than 2 or 3 years. I mean, I have a hard time believing that he's going to get through, this next year. But I mean, finish it with the Patriots, man. Go out the right way, because if you're retiring as, I know there's rumors that he was seen FaceTiming with Mike Vrabel at a basketball game. If he finishes his career as a Tennessee Titan, and that doesn't do anything for him. It's kind of like a fart at the end of a career.
All right, man. Good stuff. Stay tuned to the Detroit Sports Podcast as all the rumors take shape. Jason and I will break it all down on the Motor City Sports Rant. With our remaining 5 minutes, it's March Madness. It's a great time of year. Michigan State, Michigan heading into the NCAA tournament. Some big games ahead. It's going to be fascinating to see how it all shakes out. After Michigan State's loss to Maryland, a devastating loss, I thought they were going to actually fall off a cliff. I thought it was done, but they turned it around. They rebounded, went to Maryland, and dominated. They played well. And so now the Spartans are poised to make a run. They have a chance still to win the Big Ten in the regular season. Now they're going to head to the Big Ten tournament. And I think what everybody's kind of noticing is all the makings are there of a special season, but they got to get just a little bit more from some secondary players like a Henry or like the power forwards, Kithier. You got to find that consistency with Rocket Watts. You pretty much know you got your scoring from Tillman and the great point guard in Cassius Winston. You just need a couple more guys to develop. And is it going to be Gabe Brown? Is it going to be, Kithier? Who's going to step up game in and game out? Rocket Watts has been doing it for the last couple games. But if Aaron Henry can just take that next step forward, the Spartans can be legit and dangerous in the tournament.
Yeah, and I tuned in for the end of that Maryland game, and I think I like what I see from Rocket Watts. I like it seemed like Malik Hall was getting going in that Maryland game too. So, I mean, I think I'm not predicting that they're going to go out and just crush it in the NCAA tournament, because, we've also seen Michigan State teams that have been, favored heavily and, they can't get out of the first weekend, in recent memory. So it's like, I think this, if it is going to be a year though, I think this might be one of those years where it's more likely than others, because you look around the landscape of the rest of the NCAA, and I don't see another team that's just like, blowing teams out of the water. I don't see anybody, as a heavy favorite going into the tournament. So, it really opens it up for Michigan State to really come in there. They, and they were ranked number 1 preseason, so it's not like they're chopped liver. They're a good team, and they're gonna put together a good run. But regardless, they're still throughout the Big Ten tournament. I think they need to use these last 2 games in the Big Ten tournament to really find their real identity. I think they've gotten a lot better on defense, and they've been playing a lot tougher. But they need to refine the scoring. They need to make sure that they don't have one of those Spartan moments where they stop scoring, because I think that's what kills you in the tournament.
Yep, you and I can agree. Spartans go further than the Wolverines, right?
I can't really see the Wolverines. I have a hard time seeing them getting past getting to the Sweet 16.
Yes, good for you, Jason. That's why I love talking to you. Follow us all throughout March Madness. I think we're going to put out a bracket challenge through CBS Sports. Follow Jason on Twitter at Jarvie the King. Follow the podcast network at Detroit Podcast. Feel free, message if you've agreed or disagreed. Always enjoy the conversation, Jason. Have yourself a great week.
You too.
Okay, nice idiot. You. Bye-bye.
Good day, sir. I said good day.
All right. Take care now. Bye-bye then.
Loser.